Alright, today in your lab, what you're going to be looking at is Lab 31. Lab 31, which is Receptors and Somatic Senses. Part A is actually going to be your homework. Okay? So you're going to do that on your own time. What you're going to be looking at in your lab today is going to be doing Part B, which is on the sense of touch, in terms of sensations. Being able to use the free nerve endings, these Meissner's corpuscles and the Pepsinian corpuscles, and identifying what it is you're doing. Now, what you're going to do there, if you take a look at the lab on page 255, which here, you're going to take a look and you are going to draw these little boxes. You're going to draw those boxes on your partner's wrist. So it's going to look something like this on your partner's wrist. Okay? Their eyes are going to be closed, and what you need to do is you need to do as lightly as you possibly can. You are going to touch in those boxes. So you're going to take a pen or a pencil, maybe a mechanical pencil, and just with the lead, just the tiniest little touch, as light as you possibly can, touch in one of those boxes. Okay? If they feel it, they need to say yes, or felt it, I felt it, or yes, 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 or no. However, they obviously they can't say no. What you're going to do is you're going to constantly just change it up. Randomize the positions that you are going to test in the box and see if they can identify it or not. Okay? If they can identify it, put a plus sign. If they cannot identify it, so say they identified that one, but did not identify this one, you can do a negative sign. They did a plus sign there, but a negative sign there. Plus sign here, a negative sign there. Okay? That's what you're going to be doing for this first one. That's on the backhand side of the wrist. Okay? And number two asks you to actually do it one more time. In part B, it asks you to do in two different locations, two other regions. So you can do this. You can't really read that, but you can do this in two other spots and just list where you made this grid. So for example, on the neck, you could do that same thing, or on your foot. You name it, wherever you want to try to test to see if you have the sensations or the feelings. You draw those grids on there, and you have your partner test those for you. Okay? The next step is if you turn the page over to page 256, page 256, and part C, what you're going to look at is going to be what's called the 2-point threshold. 2-point threshold, what you're going to use the tweezers. Now, if you know the tweezers, it's got two different points, but if you squeeze those together, if those points come together, you squeeze them, it creates just a nice 1-point threshold. Alright, what you were going to do is you're going to use the 5 different steps, or it looks like 6 different locations. First one is on the index finger, second one's the palm, third is the back of the hand, fourth back of the neck, fifth one is the leg, and the sixth one is the sole of the foot. What you are going to do with those 2-point thresholds is if this is your hand, it's going to be a really crude drawing. So here's your hand. You're going to use your index finger. So if you zoom in on just the index finger, okay, so there's your finger in there. You are going to do a 2-point threshold. You are going to take the tweezers, and you are going to start out when the tweezers together. You're going to start it out together and feel it at 1 point. You are slowly going to increase the width of the tweezers till your finger, when you touch it, your partner touches your finger, you actually feel 2 different points. Now again, do not look at your partner when they're touching your hand. You do not want to see that because that would skew results. You want to just look at it, or actually just feel it. At what point do you actually feel that there are 2 parts of that and the tweezer? Now, once you get that sensation where you start feeling those 2 different parts, so if I was looking at that now, here was the tweezer, okay? What I have done at this point, I've been able to feel the difference. I then measure the distance here, and I put that down in millimeters on the lab, okay? The last thing that I want to mention to you guys is part D, Part D, you can X out, skip it. Okay, we're not going to worry about heat versus cold indicators, the thermoreceptors on that. I want you to do Part B and Part C, and then those as well as Part A will be due for homework on Monday.